And welcome on in, guys. Tobin here with you. Whew, man, that was not enjoyable there in the fourth quarter. Felt like it was going to be an easy breezy night for the Miami Heat. But why would I be so stupid? It's never easy and breezy when it's for the Miami Heat, you know? They win today 98-94, second night of a back-to-back on the road against the Charlotte Hornets, who, of course, yes, they are no first prize. Heat had an emotional game. Look, give the Heat credit on this. Emotional game really could have been bad if they suffered that loss. I don't know how I'm feeling right now if they aren't able to pull it out and Tyler Herro does not save everybody's ass there in the fourth quarter. But they got through. And so there's a fine line between guts and misery here. And so they get themselves, even if it is against the Hornets, you had to go up for a road game, second night of a back-to-back after a grueling game against the Bucks, an emotional game against the Bucks, one that Jimmy Butler said hurt. You did not have Jimmy Butler there in the fourth quarter. That is probably the biggest story out of this, is that he is hurt yet again, and we are 16 games into the season, and he seems like he's got his second injury of this. And look, it's a looming thing of concern with Jimmy. We got to get into the game for sure, but he's already had the ankle, which basically took him out for a road trip, took him out for a week plus. And then now you have the back injury. He'll have a day off before Toronto. And then we talked about it. The Miami Heat have this big run coming up. So I wouldn't even be surprised. Like, let's be real about it. If the Heat puts them on ice for this game coming up and then they go on a road trip for Toronto, they have a back-to-back coming up. So maybe both Raptors games and then bring them back for Boston and get them going there. But I'm doing this before Eric's, I don't know what Spo's going to say about it. I imagine he'll say, tweak something. We'll evaluate it day to day. If there's more of a concrete update, I'm sorry, I'm not getting it. But, this was, that was certainly concerning that he wasn't able to come back in the fourth quarter. It was something in the third. You could see it locked up on him. And, the Heat were kind of rolling. I think they probably, maybe thought that they could finish this puppy out without him. They did not. Or they did, but it took basically everything that they had to get it done. So that was concerning for sure. Jimmy dealing with that going into this. So look, in the early, we'll get into the game here now. I hate taking on LaMelo Ball. I really, really do. I despise it, because it's basically like you're taking on a Tasmanian devil. No regard for the game of basketball. This man is just going to shoot crazy-ass shots, shoot the ball out of his butt, and a lot of them are going to land, and he's just going to be like, we'll see what happens. I mean, it's insane to watch this man play basketball. I don't really know, what you equate. It's like one of these gimmicks in sports that is just, it's very frustrating when your team is on the receiving end of it. Like the Canes against Georgia Tech's triple option. You're just like, this is what you're losing to. Or if you're watching UFC and it's like the jiu-jitsu specialist who does the entire fight on his back because he's looking for heel hooks. And yeah, it'll work sometimes. But like the fact that you have to watch this and avoid the danger, this is like watching LaMelo Ball against your team, because he nearly pulls it out. He gives everybody the squeaky cheeks, and it was insane. Him and Brandon Miller had a crazy fourth quarter. The Miami Heat had to hold on for dear life after, two of their better defensive performances. They kept, this was not, obviously, you see the final score there. This was not a game where people were lighting it up, but in the fourth quarter, the Hornets put up a 36 spot after back-to-back quarters of being in the teens. They go into this, they put 19 on in the third quarter. I think the fourth, it was 13 in the second quarter, and then 36 in the fourth. Like, sheesh. That was nutty. It was nutty. LaMelo Ball, 4-7 from downtown. Brandon Miller, he gave him 8 points. Yeah, they nearly pulled it off. They nearly pulled it off there, and thankfully, The Miami Heat got some very, very clutch plays from Tyler Herro. Salon hit a 3 to put them up 94-92 after the Miami Heat. I think their largest lead in this game was 20. And so you were like, all right. The reason I felt like this one was going to be more in the bag is just like they had just felt like, Miami was really dictating this with their defense. They just got really sloppy with the basketball and kind of just played right into the Hornets' gimmicks. And they, it nearly cost them in this one. But thankfully, Tyler Herro had a big onion shot, puts the Heat up 95-94. He then steals it from Brandon Miller, but goes to the line, misses his first free throw. He then makes the second. Heat are up 96-94. And you're like, I can't believe they're going to lose this on missed free throws, or there's going to be another disaster on missed free throws. Terry Rozier, so the Heat go into, so the Hornets, they're in the bonus. They have no timeouts. So they set themselves up on the inbounds. But Green was inbounding, and Terry Rozier, once again on the inbounds, loses his guy. This time it was Cody Martin, Miami Heat postseason season ticket holder. He gets loose, beelines it right to the bucket. Thankfully, Rozier fouls him, so he's got to go to the line, and Cody Martin is not a good free throw shooter. He misses the first, and Miami's like, you could take a little bit of a breath there. So then you know that they're going to go intentional miss. Secondly, Spo puts in Kel'el Ware, and Kel'el Ware gets the rebound. They foul him immediately, and Kel'el Ware steps to the free throw line. First free throws of his NBA career, sinks them both. So that was very clutch by him, and the Heat get it done. But yeah, man, it was a wild back and forth. I mean, you had a situation where like LaMelo got him to within 4. Terry Rozier comes back with a teardrop. Then Haywood Highsmith blocks him. Herro gets right to the rim, puts him up 8. It was a nice 6-2 answer out of a timeout. You're like, all right, cool. Then Bam, I think he got a defensive 3-second violation. So Ball gets it to within 7, and then Brandon Miller hits a 3. And then the Heat just start turning it over and missing it left and right to get it there. But it was insane. It was a scary one for sure. You take the win, you get yourself back to 500. Before things all went awry, the man who really put on the cape for Miami today, Tyler ends up finishing with the team high 27 points, and he was, by far saved the day. But before that, the man who got it off to a crazy start was Duncan Robinson. Like, this was the Duncan Robinson show. He was insane, and I think he comes out of the gate. I think he scores 13 points in the first quarter. Can't miss from 3. Just has that look about him. He's doing everything. Him and Bam have that chemistry going back and forth. That was absolutely tremendous. And he was lighting it up from downtown like crazy in this performance. So a really, really nice performance from Duncan there in the first quarter, and overall finishing. He had his shot going today. I honestly was thinking like there was a point in this thing, kind of all disasters breaking loose, and man, Jaime is just he's still going through it. Really, like, had an okay first stint, but like there in the fourth quarter, just giving you nothing, dude. Like just giving you nothing. Looks indecisive. I don't know, man. Like, I don't know what's going on with Jaime. It's just this kid looked like he played with such polish and confidence, and I don't know if he's getting scouted. I don't know if it's people know not to bite or whatever, but some of these are just, he's just blowing shots, or just looks like, it's become very herky-jerky instead of the smooth confidence that he played with. So still something to keep an eye on, because I don't know what's going on there. Because at this point, you're at a point in the rotation right now where it's like Pella's in. Pella played today. Kel'el played really, really good minutes today. Gave you a solid 12 minutes off the bench. Had a big time block. Obviously had the huge free throws. Kid doesn't miss a lob. They throw it up to him, and he's got these giant tarantula arms. he's going to throw it down. But, yeah, they got to figure out something with Jaime. Because, like, at some point, I can't ever picture a place where Spo's going to bench Jaime because, you know, I think they know how important Jaime is going to be, and it does feel like this is just a bit of, you know, touch that he's got to get going. I feel like the looks are there for him. Pella right now is, you know, he's like intangibles king. He's given, you know, he's flying all over the place. He did a great job today. He had this one possession where in the, I think it was in the third quarter. Maybe it was the second. But, yeah, it was in the second quarter. Pella just beautiful defensive job on Brandon Miller. And then, like, on the other end, Jimmy finds him cutting for the reverse layup. I was just like, man, this kid is he just does all the right stuff. And he's just built, dude. Like, he is a brick house. Like, I don't think you maybe realize it watching it on TV, but like he's just very, very solid. Like, I think it's just very hard to move the kid for his size. But yeah. So what you haven't gotten from Jaime, you know, Pella's been reliable in that. This was a weird game. Weird circumstances. Losing Jimmy's obviously a pain in the butt. I don't know where, you know, how long this is going to take because backs are tricky. Those are, you know, he's already had like this is what I said coming into the year with Jimmy, right? And this is already a weird game for him because if you watch Jimmy in this game, it was a classic Jimmy coast, right? He comes into the game and this is his stat line for today. It's crazy. 2 for 2 from 3, 6 points. Like, that was it. He took 2 threes. One of them was like at the end of the shot clock, too. Like, he had no choice. He had to shoot it. But it was like, I don't know if it was like one of those like old time Kobe things where this is like by design, but he did not want to shoot the basketball today. 2 for 2, both of them 3-pointers, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Crazy. Did finish the team. He was a team high plus 14. It was all good. It was all gravy when Jimmy was out there. But it was like one of these things where you're like, all right. Obviously, Jimmy wants to play back-to-backs. You know, he's trying to kill some narratives this year too about availability. But I was talking about this yesterday with somebody before the game, and I'm like, you know, honestly, if it wasn't a thing, you probably shouldn't have even played him this game, right? Like, you really, you know, I know that load management has gotten everybody crazy and people get nutty about this stuff, but he is 35, and it is November, and it is the Hornets. And this is one of those where you're like, I know people would crush, and it's a no-win for him, right? Because it's like, you would have killed him if he missed the game, especially after a night where he's a little bit critical and he's talking about effort. So I get why he had to be out there, but like the smart money probably should have been to not play him. And now he's probably going to, I would venture to guess he's probably going to miss the Toronto game, you know? So all in all, great job by Herro. Great job by Duncan Robinson. You know, Haywood did a really great job. You know, Haywood today was dynamite defensively. He was so good. 4 blocks, 1 steal, an absolute menace. He was all over the place. He was fantastic. You know, and Bam was good defensively too. It was more of a matter of the but it was like, I was like, this is kind of crazy. Like, it feels like this should be like, that felt like a lick his chops. Like, that should be, you know, just throw it in there, Lob City all day for him, and he should have 18 points easily. But the game did get squirrely there at the end because basically what happened was LaMelo Ball is like just firing threes out of his ass, and you're like, we're gonna start hitting some threes. And thankfully, Tyler had some big onions one there in the fourth quarter to hold things off. But Boy Wonder definitely saved the day. Shout out to him. And Miami evens its record up. Couple of games against Toronto. You would love to have them get this record above 500 heading into what is going to be a gauntlet of a week. So definitely have to start squirreling some wins away with the teams coming up.